Okay, everyone, welcome to our DDF training. Now, we are incredibly excited as a district to be rolling out a new way to do our DDF district grants. And what I really want to stress about this is with DDF money, you have two types of funding vehicles, kind of grants that we talk about a lot. And one of them is your district grants. The district grants are going to be the ones that have the May 31st deadline. And those are going to be, you can spend anywhere from 0 to 50% of your DDF money on a district grant. And what can a district grant be? Well, a district grant can be about anything. Now, we're not going to say it can be anything because you can't buy that really fancy ice cream machine that you've been eyeing for the back of your meeting hall so everyone can have nice soft serve at the end of the meeting. But short of stuff like that, it can be about anything. And that's the great thing. So district grants are meant to be kind of a little more simple. So they don't have to be very complicated and they don't need any partners. And when you do them, again, you can use up to 50% of your DDF money. You can make them to be a project you want in your own backyard. We have some great ones going on this year. Anything from, we have one club that's going to be buying sneakers for all the students at a Title I elementary school. So that way they have really good shoes to participate in PE, to just also be comfortable so their feet aren't hurting in the middle of math class. Two, you can spend your district grants on something in a far-flung place. Maybe you want to do some water projects somewhere in another country. A district grant can be spent across that full gambit. And the other one is the global grants or Polio Plus transfers. That one has the different deadline. Now, that one you're not actually going to be submitting for until August 31st. That one we're going to continue to use the paper form for. Now, for the global grant or Polio Plus transfers, you have to spend minimum of 50% of your DDF money on that. Now, granted, we're not going to force you to spend any money. So if you don't spend any, the minimum 50% on the global grant or Polio Plus transfer, you're still eligible for up to the 50% on your district grant. All we're going to do is just take that other 50% minimum back and give it to another worthy cause for a global grant in our district or Polio Plus in our district. So it's not going to go to waste and we're not going to force you to spend it. But what this training's for is that first grant, the district grant. It's not going to be for the global grants and it's not going to be for the Polio Plus. Those are still going to be done with the simple one-page transfer form that we will be sending out later this summer. I'm eyeing to send it out mid to late June to remind everyone of the process for the global grants and the DDF transfers. So this is just going to simply be the district grant. Now, in the past, the district grant was done with another simple one-page PDF form. And I'll be honest, it's a little bit of a logistics nightmare to track all these little one-page forms, and had a lot of Excel spreadsheets where we're tracking all the money, we're making sure everything's done right. So what we're moving to is this new grants module. Now, it's going to serve two purposes. For you as a club member, club leadership, it's going to allow you to see, one, how much DDF money you have and track the status of the grant in the district. And so you can see when we've approved it. And it's also going to give you the ability to keep track of all your required documentation, because you do have to keep receipts. We're not asking for them unless we get audited, but you do have to keep them in case we get audited. Then we can come to you. Now, the thing that's going to serve for us is it's going to give the district a better way to manage these grants. Because behind the scenes, what actually happens is TRF does not view your club's district grant as an individual grant in the greater world of Rotary. It's just one small part in one grant. So District 6890 actually packages all of the district grants that we get that use DDF money together, and we submit one grant application to Rotary International, to TRF. And that's why we ask you in all of your documentation to be brief, because we have to take, potentially 32 of these and merge them into a single grant application. And so it's going to really help us as at the district level with managing the grants as well. So I think it's going to be a win-win. It's going to help the clubs. It's going to help the districts. So I'm going to go in now and show you how to do this. Let's start by sharing my screen so everyone can see what's going on. So we just got our good old Google Chrome. And of course, if you got any questions, if I go a little too fast, please just speak up, unmute yourself. In order for me to see my full screen, I've actually got to hide all the little square boxes that have your pretty faces on it. So I can't see you. If you're waving your hand at me to get my attention, I can't see that. Just unmute yourself and ask the question, and I'd be happy to help you. So start with, if you go to DACdb, they do have a new login landing page, but it's the exact same credentials you've been using before. So when you go to DACdb, the first thing you're going to notice is, there you go. You now have to pick, are you logging into DACdb or are you logging into MemberMinder? You're logging into DACdb. So you're just going to click on the little DACdb button. And when you do that, it is going to do a little cybersecurity thing. This is the Cloudflare. It's just making sure you're a real human. I will tell you, sometimes it doesn't give me success. If that happens, there's going to be a little link that will tell you troubleshoot. And usually what it is you might not have your location services turned on. You might have your cookies turned off, stuff like that. But it's going to walk you through how you can troubleshoot if it fails. But this is just trying to protect DACdb from the bots that are all out there. So you're going to log in. Now, what you may notice here as I log in is this does not say Jason Lewis on it. Please ignore that. Do not report me to the DACdb gods, okay? I am going to cheat and use my wife's login. The reason is I'm a district officer, and so as a district officer, my grants module is much more complex than yours. So I want to show you what your module would look like as the actual user. Now, when you get this preference, if this is your computer and you're not sharing it with anyone, you could say, yes, remember me. But since this is my wife's account, I don't want it to remember her because then when I come back next, it'll log into hers and I'll be like, hey, where's all my fancy district stuff? So what you're going to do, it does look different. If you've been in DACdb before, and maybe you haven't been in the last couple months, you're going to notice it looks a little different when you launch it. I don't want you to worry too much. They didn't change the back end. Once you click on any of these widgets and you get into them, everything's going to look the same, just like it did before. All they've really done is they've just made this interface right here look nice and pretty and modern. So that's all they've done. I call these your widgets. So where you want to start is to go over to My Club. So it's right up here in the top navigation. So I'm way up here in this top ribbon, and you can kind of see them turning white to blue, white to blue. You're going to click on the tab that says My Club. Now, you most likely will not have the some of these other ones, but you should have My Data, My Club, and My District. Okay. So you want to make sure you go to My Club. Now, the first thing you want is this grants widget right here. Now, if you don't see this pretty grants widget, I'm circling my mouse around it. It's in this bottom left-hand corner. If you don't see this grants widget, it's real easy. You click on Show Hide Icons. It's right here. It's this green button, Show Hide Icons. You click on that one, and what will end up happening, and I'm going to give you an example of that. What's going to end up happening is notice no grants widget, no grants widget. So I'm going to go Show Hide Icons. And there it is, available modules. It's going to say, hey, it's right here. It's not in the ones that are being displayed. Now, how this can end up happening is each club, whoever administers the club's DACdb, that person, you have to have a certain level of security in DACdb land. That person has an extra button over here that says set my club's default. And so they may have taken it off of your club's default. So you can add it back just simply by grabbing it and holding your mouse button down and dragging it up here next to all the yellow ones. When you drag it up there and then say set my configuration, it'll reload the page and there it is. And you can actually use the show hide to move them around if you don't want them in this particular order. So that's the first thing. If you don't see the grants module, don't worry. Just do the show hide icon and it'll show up for you. So we're going to go ahead and click in the show in the grants module. Now, if you click in this grants module and you have a big yellow banner running across the top of it that says, before you do anything, you have to set your signatories. That's what you got to do. Before you do anything, you have to set your signatories. Okay, you have to set the people in your club that's going to sign your grant. So you need to pick your club's leadership. This must be done every year. And the reason is your leadership changes every year. So if you get that big yellow banner, it actually will tell you exactly how to do that. It's going to tell you to come over here and click on admin. So you see admin right over here. I'm waving my mouse at it. It's kind of in the middle of my screen on the left. You click on the admin and it just says club signatures. Real simple. You just click on club signatures and then you're just going to scroll through and you're going to find the people you want to sign. Now, the district policy is 2. So if you notice it's already set right up here, waving my mouse for you, number of club signatures required 2. It's already set to 2. If your club wants to do more, you can change it. Completely up to you. So maybe you're a really large club and you want 3 people to sign it. Completely up to you, but you got to have 2. What I find most clubs do is they pick their president and then they're going to pick the person that's going to be responsible for that grant this year. So that could be your treasurer, could be your secretary. Maybe you have a grants committee chair. Maybe you're one of the very few clubs in the district that has a TRF committee chair. Whoever you want it to be, you scroll down and you find them. Okay. If you're not really good with names, but you're better with positions, you can even check this box right here. See, it says add by leadership. Add by leadership. If you do that, what it will do is it will put after everyone's name in parentheses, their leadership position. And then it will only show you club leaders. And so you can see S for secretary, CD for club director, IPP for immediate past president. So if you want to do it by leadership position, you can do that. Or if you want to just include all your members, you can uncheck it. Okay. Once you pick the person you want to sign, so what I'm going to do is hopefully my club won't hate me for this, is I'm going to go and add Michelle as a signatory. So you just highlight the person you want to add and you click right over here, which is the buttons that look like they're the greater than signs. Okay. So you click on that and that adds. So now Michelle can sign. Okay. And then if you want to take someone off, you click the other way. Now she can't sign. Now here's the thing with signatures. I have 3 people that can sign the grant, but I'm only requiring 2. If you have more people in this list than the number in this drop down up here, again, right up here, I'm waving my mouse at it, then it means that not all of those people have to sign. It only has to be that minimum. So right now it's 2 out of this list of 3 people have to sign. Up to you. You pick. Okay?
Jason,
Yes.
Hale from Highlands County is trying to log on. Can you see
Oh,
him?
thank you. I appreciate that. I will admit them now. Thank you. And we'll give them a second so they get on and they can hear everything. Hi, Kale. Up, audio is connecting. Hi,
And
Kale.
and
Welcome.
Sorry, I was having some trouble with my Zoom app.
No worries. We just got started. We're at kind of the very beginning where we're talking about how to add the people that are going to sign your grant onto this. So that's where we are right now. And just as a quick little recap, when you get into the grant, every year you have to set the members of your club that are going to sign the grant for your club. And the way you do that is when you get into the grants module, you click on the admin and club signature, and then you just pick the people. So you didn't miss much. And the good news is I'm recording this. So it will be posted online for you. But that's where we are right now.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Oh, you're most welcome. Now, the biggest thing, most important thing, hit save. If you don't hit save, it won't make any changes. So over here in the top right, you got save. Now you may notice this white button that says change org year. It should default to next Rotary year. Notice in red, it says 26, 27. But if for some reason it doesn't, if for some reason it's the wrong year, That's what this change org year's for. It's to change the Rotary year, but it should default to 26, 27 for you. Okay. So I'm going to hit save, get a little green box. It says it's been saved. You only have to do that once a year. So this won't have to be done again until next year, unless, of course, you want to change something about it. Okay. Now, once you're done with that, then we're going to go over to Club Grants View. That's where you're going to live. Club Grants View. Okay, so it's right over here in the left navigation. If you go to Grants Overview, it's not going to show you a whole lot there until I approve grants. But the Grants Overview is where it's supposed to show all the district grants. Fingers crossed it works. But that's where it's going to show all the approved ones. And then you can go to the budget overview and it's going to show you the district budget. You can see it's really nice because we, of course, in our district believe in transparency. So it's really nice. But where you're going to live is right here, Club Grants View. So we're going to go right over there. Now, if you notice right now, my club does not have any grants. Now, you can spend up to 50% of your DDF on a district grant or district grants. It doesn't have to go to the same thing. The rule, though, is you have to spend a minimum of $250. So I don't want to see 10 grants for 25 bucks each. Okay. So it's got to be a minimum of $250. But if you want to do multiple grants, maybe you're like our wonderful Lakeland club that actually has a little money because they've got some really generous donors in their club. And so you may end up wanting to do 4, 5, 6 different grants, and that is perfectly fine. You can do as many grants as you want, as long as it doesn't exceed 50% of your DDF, and as long as it doesn't, or as long as it goes over $250 per grant. Those are the 2 rules we have. Okay. So what you're going to do again, before you start anywhere, check right up here where it says org year. Make sure it's the right year. It's 26, 27. That is the correct year. If it's not, blue button to change the year. But it should always default to the Rotary year that we're worried with right now. We're going to go new club grant request because we're putting a new one in. So this big orange button, new grant request. And then it's going to bring a form up. Now, project name.
Hey,
Yes.
Jason,
Go ahead.
sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you're fine. Good. I love questions.
I'm on DACdb and I'm in my club. I don't see where you're at.
Yes. So great question. So what you want to do is when you're in my club, you should have a grants button right here. Do you see your little grants button?
I don't.
If you
I'm
don't,
under
that's
that
okay.
tab.
That's all right if you don't have it. So are you on the My Clubs tab?
I think the problem is I'm on DACdb mobile.
That is the problem. You have to be on the DACdb website, if I'm not mistaken.
Mine is not letting me get on that website. It says what's it? Safari can't open the page because the address is invalid. And it
Are you
just
on your phone?
I'm on my iPad.
Okay. So you want to make sure you go to DACdb.com is the website you want to go to.
Let's see if this works.
And then when you go to DACdb.com,
I think I've got it now. Let
okay.
me see.
Do you have 2 big buttons? One says log into DACdb and the other one says log into iMembersDB.
Yeah. Yep.
Click on the log into DACdb.
Okay, there we go.
Yep.
Okay,
Yeah,
I'm in
so
my
the mobile
club.
version doesn't have all of this, if I'm not mistaken.
It does not. Okay, I'm in grants now, so I'm tracking where you're at now.
Perfect. Great. I love it. Okay. And so again, the admin is where you're going to go add your admins. You have a big yellow banner that says before you do anything, you have to add your signatories.
Sorry, I was muted.
Oh,
No, I don't see a yellow banner, but I
okay.
do have the admin tab.
Okay.
Um,
Then then we're just going to move instead of the admin, we're just going to go straight to club grants view.
Okay.
And
Yep.
that's where I am right here. Do you have this?
I sure do.
Perfect. Okay. And then if you want to check later, you can go to admin and click on the club signatures and just make sure it has the right people listed there that you want to sign the grant.
Okay. I don't have anyone listed there at
Yeah,
this
you
time.
you will choose those people, Kale.
Okay.
And typically it's club president and whoever's leading the project, but it can be anyone. DACdb will give you a menu that you may have in front of you now of who in your club has access and authority to be a signer on the grant.
Yep. So you literally will just scroll through and find the people you want to sign.
There
So
they are.
yep. And like Ed said, most clubs choose to make the president as one, and I really recommend that. So make the president. Now, each club's a little different. Some clubs put the president elect because this is going to be signed May 31st.
Right.
And so they're
Which
not the
would be
president
myself.
yet. Yeah. And then some people would instead choose this year's president. Completely up to your club how you want to do that. We just need someone in leadership signing it. And then most clubs will pick the second person to either be, preferably, I recommend the person leading the actual grant. But some clubs will pick it to be the treasurer. Some will pick it to be the grants committee chair. Completely up to you who you want the second person to be. Just whatever makes sense for your club.
Gotcha.
Perfect. So then we're going to go over to Club Grants View. And now we're ready to put our grant in. So we're going to go New Club Grant Request. And the first thing we're going to ask you to do is you can put anything you want in for project name. But I'm going to ask you, please don't put anything you want in for project name. Put first off the name of your club. I don't need the full legal name. Like technically, I didn't know this till I became a member of my club because I always called it the Tampa Rotary Club. It is actually the Rotary International Club of Tampa is its full legal name. Please don't do that. Just put your club's name. So if we're Tampa, so we're putting Tampa. If you're Winter Haven, put Winter Haven. If you're Lake Wales Breakfast, Lake Wales Breakfast. I don't need the very long one. Just give me the name so I know who the club is. And then the next thing I'd like for you to do is now give me just a brief title of what your grant is. Okay. Your project is. The reason I want this again is as a reminder, the two main reasons we're doing this is one, to make your life easier, but two, to make the district's life easier. So I'm going to get a list of all these grants, and the way it lists them is by project name. And so if I have the name of your club and the name of your project right there in the name, it's going to make it so much easier for me to find your grant when you call me about it. So if you can just do that for me, that is going to be my first ask, is that you put for the project name, the name of your club. And then I've been using as a generic name, Clean Tampa Bay, as I'm teaching this. So I'm going to call my grant Clean Tampa Bay. Okay. Now, the next thing, priority. I don't care about that. We are not using that. So you can pick whatever you want, but we are not looking at that whatsoever. Okay. And so that's a feature that some clubs use. We're not using it. Okay. We're on round one of grants. I don't envision us doing round two, but we're on round one. So you can put round one. Next is tell us where the project's going to be. Now, most likely this is going to be where your club is. But if you happen to be doing a district grant that's somewhere else, like for example, if you want to donate to Camp Rotary's Camp Florida, okay, well, you're not going to put Tampa here. You're going to put Brandon, okay. So or is it Bradenton? I always get those two mixed up.
I think it's
Brandon.
Brandon.
Ed's
Brandon.
going to laugh at me for that one. But put where the actual project's taking place. It's not where your club is, where the actual project's taking place. So I'm going to clean Tampa Bay. So we're going to say it's going to take place in Tampa and then Florida. Okay. And then USA. So just fill those in. Okay. Now, target completion date. I want you to be realistic here. So if this is, let's say, a thing you're going to do over the holiday season, maybe it's providing meals for housebound seniors, okay, over the holidays. Well, if you know that, well, the holidays typically end by the middle of January. So go ahead and say the middle of January 27. Put what's practical here, okay? And so I'm going to be, middle of January for homebound meal service over the holidays. Whereas if this is a project that needs to take place in the spring, then be realistic. Now, a couple things to note. Please do not put June 31st, 2027, because your report, ideally, you're going to get to us by the beginning of May of next year. So we do ask you try to get your grants wrapped up by the hopefully beginning of May next year. Okay. Drop dead, it can't go any later, is the end of June because it has to be done by the end of the Rotary year. But be realistic here. So I do ask that if at all possible, don't set it for past April 30th. If at all possible, don't set it past April 30th. If you have to set it further than that, then please just talk to me, because what I want to make sure you do is that you actually get the grant done by the end of the Rotary year, because the money's got to be spent by the end of the Rotary year. Now, the other ask I have is please don't put your completion date as August 30th, 2026. You're not going to have the money by then. So don't set your completion date until at least the last quarter of 2026. So don't set your completion date before the end of the 2026 year, because you're not going to have your money realistically. If everything goes according to plan, we're not gonna be able to ship the money out to mid-September. So you're not even getting your money until then, in the best case scenario. Most likely, it's probably not even going to be to October until the money shows up. So the dates I'm telling you again for summary is no earlier than the last day of 2026 and no later than April 30th, 2027 as your completion dates. Now, why is this important for us? Because this date you put here is when DACdb is going to start sending you automated reminders. So you'll get a reminder, hey, your grant's coming to closure. Make sure you submit your final reports. So we want to have your date set realistically, so that way you get those reminders in a timely fashion. Next is the area of focus. You do have to pick an area of focus based on Rotary's 7 areas of focus. I don't know why they still have COVID-19 in there, but they do. What I'm going to ask you to do is pick the one that most closely aligns to your grant's purpose, okay? So if the grant is you're supporting a shelter for women and children, I would probably say saving mothers and children, whereas mine's cleaning Tampa Bay. So I'm going to say that can be promoting clean water, because we do have drinking water that comes out of there, or it could be supporting the environment. You pick.
Jason,
Yes.
can you pick more than one area of focus?
No, and that's a great
Well, I
question.
do.
I really wish you could, but it only
Yeah.
lets you pick one. If it
Okay.
actually does overlap, then in the narrative, you can say the primary area of focus is supporting the environment, but a secondary area is promoting clean water.
Okay,
So
thank
pick
you.
the main one. That's a great question, Irma. I really
Right.
appreciate that. So yeah, just pick the main one and then do in the narrative. Now, this is the very first place we're going to tell you to be brief. Project description. Notice you only get 410 characters. If I could limit that to 200, I would. I don't want a paragraph. It doesn't even have to be a complete sentence. It needs to be brief. Tell me what you're doing. The reason is this now is going back to how we have to submit this to TRF. When we submit this to TRF, we are going to take all of these project descriptions and squeeze them in together and mush them together to make our grant description. And so if everyone gives me 2 paragraphs, I'm going to end up with a 500-page grant submission. So I need this to be brief. So mine's cleaning Tampa Bay. So I'm going to say clean Tampa Bay of trash. Brief. I do want enough that I can tell what you're doing. So don't just say new shoes and leave it at that, but make it as brief as you can, where you still are articulating what you're doing. Okay. So that's a brief one. It tells me what you're doing. Don't worry. You are going to get another tab in a second where you can write to your heart's content about what you're actually doing. This is what I need for my copy and paste to put this into the TRF grant. So I want it to be nice and brief there. Okay. Now, once you do that, guess what you press before you do anything else? I like participation, by the way.
Save.
Save.
Yep. This is the teacher.
I just figured that out actually, Jason. When I went to add my signees, I added them and then I left and then went and tried to do it and it said you don't have signees.
Yep.
I was like, bull crap! I just did it, and it was like, bull crap! You didn't hit save.
Yep.
So
Gotta hit save. I know.
Lesson
Don't you
learned.
wish it was like Word with autosave? It's not.
yeah,
So before you do anything, hit save. So I'm gonna hit save. And notice as soon as I did that, I now get this wonderful timeline at the top. This is the project timeline. And I actually got some extra tabs. Okay. So hit save. Now, the next thing you're gonna do is clubs involved. I'm gonna tell you right now, you will probably not put anything here. But let's just take our good old Florida's Camp Rotary. Let's say I was going to partner with, let's say Winter Haven and West Chase and Fishhawk Riverview. And we were all going to go in and build a new something, swing set. I don't know what. And so we're actually going to partner together. Feel free. You can go put the other clubs here. Okay. But it's not needed. Again, this is a module that is made for much bigger purposes than what we're using it. We're only using small features of it. So you don't need to put any other clubs here, but if it makes you feel better and you want to add more clubs, feel free. Okay. But the primary club needs to be you. It will auto default to you as the primary club. And it's also going to put you as the clubs involved, but you don't have to put any other clubs on here. If you just want to, for whatever reason. Okay. Contacts. I need to know who is going to be the person that I'm going to contact. Okay. This is not the signers. This is going to be when I need something about the grant. Okay. Let's say TRF calls me and says, hey, they want a receipt for something. I have to know who I'm going to contact for that receipt. So you're going to scroll down here and you're going to find the contact people that are going to be part of your grant. Okay. Now, ideally, the person signing the grant is going to show up in this list because ideally, one of your signers is your grant leader, is your project leader. Okay. So it's going to automatically put whoever's submitting the grant in there. Okay. And so go find whoever you want, more the merrier. Okay. I would prefer more than one person because let's just say that you're on vacation out of the country in Fiji and you turned your phone off, or maybe you just threw your phone in the ocean because you're like, I love this place and I don't want to talk to anybody. Well, if I need to get a hold of someone kind of urgently, it'd be better if I had more than one person. So put all of your club contacts in here that are related to the project. So I need people that know about the project. So if I have to call someone and say, hey, have you cashed this check yet? Hey, have you spent this money yet? They know what I'm talking about. Okay. Again, if you make a change, hit save before going to the next tab. Now this is the meat of your application. Okay. Start date. Do not put July 1st. You won't have your money then. Okay. I don't want to see any of these be before September 1st. But no matter what date you put here, you cannot start spending any money until you get a check from the district. Until our treasurer, Susan right now, until the district treasurer gives you the money, you can't spend the money. One of the big TRF rules for this is these cannot be reimbursements. So if we get audited, the receipt cannot have a date before the date your check is cashed. Okay, I'm going to say that again just so everyone's clear. None of your receipts can have a date on them before the date that your check is cashed, because this cannot be a reimbursement program. It's got to be you don't spend the money till you get the check. So it doesn't matter what start date you put, your grant project cannot start until we fund it at the district level. Now, I do get the question a lot, well, what if we're using our own club's cash for part of this? Great. Split it into two projects. Okay. Now, in your club itself, you don't necessarily need like 2 total club committees and all that. In your club itself, behind the scenes, you guys do you. But as far as the district is concerned, you're going to have 2 projects. One is going to be the project the district is funding, and one is the one you're using your own money on. Okay. So if you need to start the project early and you have your own cash you're going to be working on, then what you're going to need to do is split it up into 2. And you're going to have where the part that the district DDF money is paying for does not start until you get that money in hand. But your own club's funds, you can use that whenever you want because that's your club's money. Okay. Hopefully that's clear. Again, your completion date should match what's on the first tab. Don't set this past April 30th, please. And I don't recommend you set it before December 31st. So set it between December 31st and April 30th. Okay, that's the completion date. Next, we will be mailing you a check. Please tell us where to mail the check and what name to put on the check. Now, this needs to be a name that can cash the check. So if your bank is very strict and makes it have to be the literal legal name of your club, Rotary International Club of Tampa, INC, that's what you're typing there. This is the name we're going to print on the check. Then tell me where we're going to mail the check. Okay. We are going to do a little auditing here. So if this says Tommy Sue and the address is in New York State, we're going to give you a call and be like, what's going on? Okay. So what we're expecting to see here is your club address here. But if the check needs to go to your club's treasurer at their house, that's fine. Okay. But we're expecting to see your club's name up here in the name field. But tell us where we're going to mail it. Okay. Now we're into where you're going to start filling stuff out. Project description. Okay. This is now where you can write to your heart's content. I will tell you, we don't need more than a paragraph. We don't need like very large details. Remember, we used to do this on a 1-page PDF. I'm going to say it again. We used to do this on a 1-page PDF. So you don't need to write me an entire novel here. But if you really want to highlight something, feel free. I'm not going to tell you no, but it doesn't need to be more than a few sentences. Okay. So I'm going to say, we are going to run 3 cleanup weekends where we remove trash from Tampa Bay. Okay. Oh, I probably should fill this in. So I'm going to start this. Go ahead and start this October 1st. And I'm going to say we're going to be done February 28th. We're going to run it over the winter months. For whatever reason, we want to get out in the cold and do something. Okay. So I'm going to go Rotary International Club of Tampa, INC, and I don't know street, because I really don't know our address. Okay, there we go. So you fill it out, give me a nice little description. Again, that is perfectly fine for me. I don't need more than that, okay? Just tell me what you're doing. Humanitarian efforts. If there are no humanitarian efforts, don't put anything there other than NA, okay? If it doesn't apply, NA, okay? We anticipate 20 Rotarians per cleanup, okay? Tell me how many Rotarians are going to be involved in your project, okay? So if you want to tell me what they're going to do, okay? If this is a feeding, maybe you're going to help sponsor some community feedings, then you can put that. We'll have 20 Rotarians per feeding where we anticipate 100 community members will be coming for food. Feel free, give me some details there, okay? Do you plan on publicizing it? If so, how? We will publicize on our social medias and issue a press release to the local news. Okay. Tell me what you're going to do to publicize this. I know our public image committee at the district level would love to know that you're publicizing stuff. Okay. So tell us how you're going to do that. Do you have a cooperating agreement with some other organization? If so, just let us know who that is and add it in the document section. Most likely this is a no. This is a very rare thing, but let's say you're partnering with the Children's Hospital and you're going to do gifts over the holiday season for hospital-bound kids. Well, you're probably going to end up with some sort of agreement with the hospital. So if you have some sort of legal agreement that you've written up with another entity, then you're going to attach it and it's going to be in the document section. I'll show you that in a second. Next is your agreements. Okay. So you're going to just say, yes, you agree to the electronic application. And yes, you you're agreeing to follow all the rules. Okay. So you check those. What do you do before you go anywhere else?
Save.
Hit save.
Save.
It's that simple. Once you hit save, then you're going to go over to budget. Now, the budget, the first thing you got to know is how much DDF do you have? Okay. So we're going to do an add income source. That's your first spot. Okay. Now, if you notice right here, this is your 50%. I already did the math for you. This is your 50%. Okay. So what you do is you decide how much of that. Remember, the minimum is 250. The maximum is that amount right there. So you get to decide how much you want to put on this. So maybe you want to do two. Maybe we're going to do one that's only $500. And then maybe we're going to do another one that is, what is that? $556.40. Now, I'm going to tell you one interesting thing that I have not been able to figure out, and I'm still waiting for DACdb to tell me what's going on. You can't put change in there. So I can't spend that 40 cents right now. I have no idea why that is. So I do apologize. We're going to have a lot of cents left over. But you're going to put in here, I want $500. Okay. If you try to put the change in there, it's going to give you an error telling you you can't do that. So round it. Okay. And then the description is just going to be DDF. Okay. DDF. Go add. Now, if you are going to be supplementing this with your own club's money, feel free. The reason that we have this capability is you can use this module to completely manage your club's project. Okay. So if you want to put in the other funding avenues that you're going to use, feel free. All you would do is just go other club funding and feel free to put a description into what it is. So this could be donations, sponsorships, whatever. Okay. So you feel free to do that. And then what's nice is when we get this submitted, you're going to see there's a management module and you can track all of that if you want. You don't have to though. You can make this purely just a DDF funded grant. So if you're only making it a DDF funded grant, you're only going to have one line item. Next thing you have to do is tell me how you're going to spend the money. So we're going to go to add budget expenses. Okay. And so put your expenses in here. Now, I don't need like fine granular detail. You can categorize things. Okay. And so let's say if I know a lot of clubs do a donation to one of their good charitable partners. So let's say you're going to donate money for a community feeding. Lighthouse Ministries is one in Lakeland. So I don't need you to go to Lighthouse and say, okay, how much are you spending on the burgers? How much are you spending on the hamburger buns? How much are you spending on the French fries? What about the plates? I don't need that. You could just put cost of food, okay, and give me as a total. So I don't need that granular level detail, okay? So I'm going to say cleanup supplies. I'm not going to put trash bags and then another line item gloves, then another line item bag ties. I don't need that. I'm happy with cleanup supplies, okay? And so let's say that's going to cost $400. And then I'm going to say trash disposal fee. Let's say the dump's going to charge me $100. Okay. I don't know. I'm making this up, but add your expenses in. Okay. So I've added in my expenses. The big thing is right here. That better add up to 0 under budget summary. Okay. So you want to make sure when you get done, they add up to 0. So your income tied with your expenses need to come out zero. This has to be a neutral thing. Okay. Once you're done, of course, we're going to hit save. Once we do that, the only thing we got left is any supporting documents you want to upload. Now, what you can upload here is if you go into documents, right over here into this folder, this is where you can upload any supporting documents like that cooperation agreement that was referenced earlier. We do not need supporting documents. I'm going to say that again. We don't need them. But if you want to submit something, maybe you have a very detailed budget as an Excel spreadsheet. If you feel like you want to submit it, feel free. Because again, this is going to help your club. This is also used by your club to manage this project. So if you want to put documents in there, feel free. Now, the one document that we are going to ask you to put in there is your receipts. Or suggest, I shouldn't say ask. We're going to suggest you put your receipts in here. The reason is you don't have to worry if in 3 years we come to your club and say, hey, do you have your receipts for those trash bags you bought? And you're like, I don't know where we put that. You can put them up in here and then you don't have to worry about maintaining them because they'll be maintained in DACdb. So if you're a little worried you might lose those, feel free to upload them here. Now, a couple things about receipts. I'm going to air quote that. If what you did is wrote a check, let's take the Lighthouse Ministries example. You wrote a check to Lighthouse Ministries. All I need is the canceled check or the bank statement that has the canceled check on it. That's all I need. I don't need an actual receipt from Lighthouse Ministries. The receipts would be because I went to Costco to buy the trash bags. And so I have a Costco receipt for the trash bags. That's when we need an official receipt. But if what you did is you wrote a check to an organization, the canceled check or the bank statement with the canceled check attached to it as a scanned image, that is perfectly fine. So those are on the two things. Again, you don't have to put them here in the document section, but that will just make it where you don't have to keep track of it your own way at your club level. Okay.
So Jason, if you paid with a credit card, would that also apply?
So if the credit card was used to give money to an organization, then the credit card statement would be
Or to
sufficient.
purchase supplies, let's say.
If it's something where they generated a receipt for you, we would want the receipt.
Okay.
Yeah, but we don't need the credit card statement as well. So if you bought like from Amazon, if I bought the trash bags from Amazon with my credit card, I'd want the Amazon receipt, not the credit card statement. Because the credit card statement won't give me enough details about what you spent the money on.
Okay.
Yeah, great question. Okay. Then we're going to hit save. Now, this next one, we're going to have to use our imaginations because I don't actually want to click on the button because it will send an email to the Tampa Club asking for signatures. And I don't want next year's president, our PE, Jamie, to be like, what's this Clean Tampa Bay grant that I just got? So I'm not going to actually do it. But when you are ready, when you've got everything in here, how you like it, and you're ready to submit it to the district, first step is hit this big gray button that says Club Collect Grant Signatures. When you do that, step 2 is going to become red and step 1 is going to become a green. It's meaning that now you're in phase or step 2 of your grant. Then what's going to happen is it's going to email your signatories. So everyone that's on that signature list is going to get an email saying a new grant is ready for signatures. So what do you think you need to do as the person writing this grant before you hit that big gray button?
Let those folks know they're going to be getting a notice to sign.
Exactly. Because we don't want them to think it's a phishing email and they delete it or spam. So please reach out to them and just say, hey, I'm about to submit our DDF grant application. You're one of the signatories. Expect an email from DACdb asking you to sign it. They will get an email that literally has a link and they just click the link and it will take them into here. Okay. They'll have to log in to DACdb, but they log in and it'll take them here and then they just digitally sign it. Okay. It'll walk them through digitally and signing it. Once the minimum of 2 signatures have happened, step 2 will be done. And then it will go on to step 3. It's an automatic flow. It will then go to step 3, which then this will send an email to me and Ed Odom to say, hey, we need district signatures now. And so then the district will read over it, make sure everything's fine. If we say we need more information, that's step 4. We send it back to you. Okay. So if something's wrong on it, I can't really envision right now what that would be because usually you guys get these right and we don't ever have to send them back. But if something's just not right about it, we will send it back to you and I will give you a call. Okay. I will reach out to you and I'll be like, oh, can you just change this one part of it? Or I need you to change the start date, something like that. So if we have to send it back to you, it'll go to step 4. If we don't need to send it back to you, it goes to step 6. So once the district signature, which is step 3, happens, one of 3 things will happen. Step 5, no, that's not happening. Project canceled. You got to do so. You actually have to ask for the ice cream machine. That's where that's going to get canceled. Okay. So I don't see that one. One of 2 things will happen. Either we'll send it back to you for more info. That'll be 4, or it's approved. That's 6. Okay.
Jason, do you have the ability to override and like change a date?
Yes, I have the ability to make minor changes.
Okay.
But once a change has been made, if I'm not mistaken, it has to go back to the club for signatures.
Ah, okay.
Yep. Yep. So, but I can actually, I have the power. I can go in and edit
Right.
any of your grants.
No, right.
So, so I can definitely help you. And that is actually a good question, Irma, that you've posed because it made me want to remind everyone, I'm here to help you. So if you get
Right.
stuck on any of this, just call me and I can log in with you and I can fix things and help you. Okay. You're not out in the dark. We're going to help you and we're going to get you across the finish line. So once it's approved, we are not doing interim reports. Okay. So step 7 won't happen. Step 7 through 9 won't happen. But 10 is where your next thing is. 10 is going to be your final report. Your final report is going to be really simple. It's just going to simply be asking you, did you spend all the money? Are you either submitting the receipts or keeping them for 5 years? You have to say you're going to do one of the 2 things. And it's going to ask you, did you achieve all your project objectives that you wanted? And how many Rotarians participated? And what was the impact of your project? So you just fill out that simple report and it's going to be filled out just like this. You're going to have a new tab. You'll just have a new tab and it'll be the final report and it'll just have boxes that you fill out. And then once you do that, you hit submit and it comes to the district. We read over it. We say it's good. We hit it's approved and then you're closed out. Okay. And so that's the life cycle of the district grant. Pretty cool.
And those reports will be prompted. Is that right, Jason? That based on the completion dates, the contact people will start to receive prompts to say, "Hey, it's time for your closing report."
That is what it's been explained to me. Now, since this is our first year, I haven't seen it live in action. I probably should put one in and warn my club and just put a demo one in and set the date as like next week just to test it. But the instructions for DACdb say yes, exactly, Ed. That's the way
Okay.
it's supposed to work, is when your closure date happens, it's going to automatically send you an email saying, okay, your project it's at the end date. You now need to submit your final report. So that's
Gotcha.
supposed to be automated and you'll get it as an email to all the contact people to
And
submit that.
and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm saying this primarily for Sarah and Kale. This is not interfacing with the Rotary Foundation, rotary.org. So to your earlier point, when we're filling in the individual fields, all we're going to be communicating to Rotary is the club name, the project, the dollar amount, essentially as a line item. And these closing reports, we will collect all of them, but then we're submitting a singular closing report to the Rotary Foundation saying, however many it is, 18 or 23 lines on our district grant application, all of those items were completed.
Exactly. And that's why we need you to submit your closeout report in a timely fashion. Because what has to happen is Ed this year, me starting next year, I have to take all these closeout reports and squeeze them together again into one master report to TRF to close out the entire district's grant because it's all one big grant. We cannot submit next year's grant until this year's grant is closed. So right now, I'm asking all the clubs that had DDF district grants to submit their closeout reports. And we can't submit all of your PE's DDF money. We can't submit that grant until we get this closeout done. So that's the reason that we want you to put accurate closeout dates. So that way you don't leave it kind of hanging there until the last minute. So if you know your grant's going to be done January 15th, put January 15th. That way, right when it's done and it's still fresh in your mind, you get that email reminder, you close it out, it's done, you don't have to worry about it. And then me or Ed Odom don't have to come hunt you down come May 15th and be like, where's your closeout report? And you're like, my what? You're like, your grant, your closeout report. You're like, oh, we finished that in January. Okay, well, we still need your report. So we don't want to have to hunt you down. But yeah, the only thing that's getting reported to TRF from this is going to be the name of your project, and the short description and the amount. And then the closeout information, we take that and we aggregate it all and we submit that to TRF.
So you need the final report by May 15th. Is that correct?
We don't,
Ideally,
we say we want it by the beginning of May. And it's technically not until the end of June, but we don't want to say that because if we wait to the end of June, I can't submit next year's grant until after that date. So the sooner we can get all the clubs to close out, the better. That's why I'm saying I would recommend to try to have all of your grant termination dates no later than April 30th. That way you can spend the first week of May doing the closeout report and getting that to us by mid-May. So ideally, that's what we would like to see. But again, if you are a very unique situation, then please reach out to me and I will work with you on trying to find a solution. So if you have one that I don't know why, but for whatever reason, you can't do your project until May. It has to happen in the month of May. I will work with you. We don't want to say you can't have the project. We'll work with you. We'll make it work. But I just need you to talk with me because you're going to have a very quick turnaround on getting that closeout report done as soon as you finish your project.
that one will probably have you sign in blood that it'll be complete by the end of May.
Yeah, exactly. Because one of the things to note is if we don't spend the money, if for whatever reason you don't spend the money, we got to mail it back to TRF. We lose it. So that's why we're really kind of strict on these. You got to get it done by these dates because we don't want to have to mail the money back to TRF. We want to spend it here in our district.
To clarify that, we lose it as district grant available money. It falls back into our pool of available global grant money. But each of the last 2 years, well, last year and this Rotary year, we did and will send back several $1,000s because we have put in a contingency amount just in case there's something unexpected, or with our paper process, we've had it where we have missed clubs applications and had to recover with our contingency funds. But this will help to eliminate that, as we'll be a lot more certain that we've gotten everyone that wants to submit an application.
Yes, and that is so true. That this is going to help with the missing grant applications because it's easy to lose an email when it's simply a PDF form. Or I've had this happen where someone's printed it out and handed it to me at a Rotary meeting and said, oh, here's our grant application. I mean, now I've got a loose piece of paper that I've got to remember to scan and file away. So this is going to really help with that management aspect.
Yeah.
So the last thing I wanted to show you is once you get a grant in the system, if you go back to grants view, this is where your grant will show up. Okay. And so now you have your grant listed right here. So some things you can do at this point, you can click the red X, that will delete it. That literally will delete your grant application. Don't do that unless you really want to delete it. Okay. You can click the little pencil, that will let you edit it. So you don't have to do this all in one sitting. So you just fill out a couple things and hit save. You can come back to it later. Okay. So if you need to edit it, pre-approval, once it's approved at the district level, you can't edit it. It's locked at that point. But pre-approval, you can edit it. You can also duplicate it. So if you want to do the same one next year, we don't really encourage that, but if you did, you can duplicate it, so you can clone it. This is a really good feature, this grant note. So if you want to add a note to your grant, kind of like a note to self or a reminder to do something later, you can do that. And the grant note gets tagged on your grant. I will let you know I can see them, but it doesn't become incorporated into your grant. Okay. And so it's not like part of the official submission. But if you need to put a note on there, maybe like what you're saying is budget is based on current exchange rate for Cuban pesos. I don't know if Cuba uses pesos. I think they do. Okay. And so if you need to put a little note in there, that's not like officially part of your grant, you can put a little note in there. Again, if we were using this more as a really large grant program, like a lot of districts do, the notes come a little bit more into play. For how we use it, it's probably not going to be that big of a deal. But if you want to add a note, you can also add a note into there. And then once you have the grant approved and it's ready to go, clicking on it, I'm sorry, I did that without telling you what I'm doing. I'm not clicking on the pencil, I'm clicking on the name. So if you click on the name of the project, then you can actually get the overview. And it's really cool because it gives you all the details about it. Okay. It tells you like your budget and you get some analysis. So again, if you want to really trick this out and use it full blown, you can. And then you can even download the whole thing as a PDF. So if you want to save this as a PDF, then you can. So that's how this works. Any closing questions?
I think it's important to stress something you mentioned earlier. Some clubs will have enough district DDF to do more than one project. And so you have to do this form more than once.
Correct. If you're doing more than one project, you'll have to do this form more than once. So if I come over to why can't I see it? Where's the club? Oh, there it is. Club Grants View. Sorry, I'm clicking around. I couldn't see it.
Right.
I'm blind. So if you come over to Club Grants View, if you remember, I had 10,046. I've only accounted for 500 of that. So exactly, I have to come. But here's the cool thing is if I come in here and I start a second one, so Tampa, second grant. Okay. So I'm just going to do that so I can get it up to, oops. Can't hit save till you fill it out. Okay. So I filled enough out to make it where I can hit save. So once you do that, if you go over to the budget and I add an income source, oh, it won't update it until it's approved. It hasn't been approved
There you
yet.
go. Right.
So it won't take it
So
off.
you have to do the math.
Yeah, you'll have to do the math. I forgot about that glitch. So
Yeah.
it has to be approved before it takes it off. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, you have to work
I just
through.
think it's important for clubs to understand, though, that they have to do this for each organization or project that they're going to help with their local DDF.
Yeah.
And actually seeing that, all kidding aside, that may be an example where Jason has to go back or one of us has to go back and say, we need to make a change because you can see where a club might see their DDF in there twice and request more than they
Overspend.
actually have
Yeah.
available. Right.
Yeah.
Excellent call out.
Yeah, I can totally see that.
Yeah.
And I might make that as a feature request to DACdb that they encumber the money as soon as the draft is saved.
Or at least show it in another color or something like this is, you've already applied for this amount. And so this is what you have left to work with. They should be able to couch it somehow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you get all of these, if you haven't heard from every club in the district, are you going to then reach out to them and say, time's running out? Do you plan to apply?
Yes, we are going to do the same process we've done in years past, which
Okay,
is we're going to send multiple reminder emails,
okay,
and letting everyone know that the deadline's quickly approaching,
right,
and asking if they need any assistance or they need any help.
okay,
We don't traditionally do individualized appeals, where we send it literally to the clubs that haven't applied and say, hey, you haven't applied yet, because they may want to be saving and using their full DDF for a global grant or
for a
polio.
global grant, that's
Yeah.
Um,
fine.
so we
In the
don't do
last
the
couple of
individual
years,
call outs until the August
yeah,
deadline, which is when
Right,
is the absolute deadline to spend any of the money.
agree
okay,
that in the last couple of years, the only exception might be if I've had a conversation with someone, like if you and I had talked, Irma, and I knew you had some district grant in your mind and I hadn't seen anything yet, then I'd probably send you a text or a phone call or something. But um, as
right,
Jason said, and we've had pretty darn high levels of participation the last several years,
yeah.
um, with those reminders as we approach the deadline.
And it doesn't say anywhere on there that they can put their money to polio or anything. They have to just know that, right?
On here, this is only district grant money.
Okay,
So no, it doesn't. It's the global grant money or global eligible funds that can go to other
polio,
areas. And between our other communications that we're talking about, we'll emphasize that in conjunction with the global DDF deadline. And that's
yeah,
still, I've been doing kind of a how-to guide that will accompany this video. Um, that global grant direction of DDF will still
mhm,
be a manual form process.
right,
And here's a little foreshadowing for one more year, because this module actually has the ability, I don't have it configured this way, but it has the ability to do multiple rounds of funding. You remember that round part where it said round one and round two?
right,
So round two is going to end up becoming the global grant and polio transfers.
Oh,
And
cool.
it's supposed to have enough intelligence to know, um, I don't, again, I don't have it configured this way. We're only seeing one column for DDF per club. I can
mhm,
have two columns where one says district grant and the other one says global
global,
grant. And
perfect,
and whatever's left in the district grant column can flow into the global grant column during round two of funding. So
perfect,
I didn't want to do it all up in one year on everybody, but the
yeah,
plan is for
to
27,
be overwhelming,
28, we're
yeah,
gonna move the whole thing online.
mhm,
And it really will start to help with that. And that part of it is supposed to have a box that says Global Grant or Polio Plus.
good,
And Jason has uncovered a number of little glitches, even the DDF amounts, as I recall, Jason, when you plugged in the initial total, it was not doing the 5% reserve and coming back with
oh,
the wrong returning amount because it
Yeah,
was
yeah,
asking for amounts given 3 years prior.
yeah. So I
right,
have to
And
plug in how much every club gave 3 years prior, and it's supposed to do the math, and it does 50% instead of 47 and a half. So I had to go into Excel and
do
back the
95%.
math, yeah, to get it so it shows you the right amount.
yeah, that's more than just a little glitch, yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 So and I
So
have a glitch report in for that one.
Well, you can kind of see DACdb technology has remained about 5 years behind the curve. So
Yeah.
they're trying though,
that's
they're
consistent.
trying.
I
They're
know
trying. This grant
I mean,
module is
if
actually
any of you
new.
use Ignite, they've come a long way with that.
that. Yes.
Yeah.
The other thing I was going to say, like when you were pointing out the notes section, I mean, say you were writing your own grant and this was going to be like the pilot, and then next year you're going to do, another part of it. You could put that in the notes section so that it jumps, if you're, say you move or something, somebody else can see that this was the plan.
You can, but I will say from all I've seen about that note section is most people will never even see that there's a note on it.
Okay.
It's a very easy thing. And actually you have to have a certain security level to even see there's a note on it.
Oh, okay.
And so it doesn't seem to be a very user-friendly feature. I think it's
Useful.
something that
Right.
they may be doing something with later. So I would
Yeah.
recommend for like that type of use case, you set
Put
some
that in
other
the
mechanism up.
description.
Yeah, put
Yeah.
it in like the description or something. But,
Okay, gotcha.
yeah. So,
Sarah, you having a
Jill,
good time in San
Sarah?
Francisco?
Right? I do have some questions now after listening to it again, because I did listen when we were at training. But so it kind of goes into what you were saying, that if somebody else is taking over and you need
Right.
to change the signatories and that kind of stuff, is it set to the person that entered it through their DACdb, or so if I fill out one and I leave, how does somebody else go in there and change it? Are the
It's
signatories
under the
allowed
club.
to? Oh, so anybody in the club can go in and
No,
change it.
not anybody.
Okay.
They have to have a certain security level, and I believe you have to be a level 3, which any club leader is. So,
Okay.
So you can do it as a collaborative approach. So you could start it, and then another club leader can go in and add. Maybe you only know the cover page and you don't know the budget part, and so the treasurer can come in and do the budget part. So you can do it completely as a collaborative approach. The signatories you can change out throughout the process if someone leaves, but they do have to be changed once a year anyways, because they have to be
Okay.
changed every year for the new
For
leadership.
the new one. Okay. The other thing I wanted to know.
Sarah, can
Yep.
you hold on just for a moment before we
I
move
can.
off of that?
Yep.
Jason, would you suggest that we suggest that the signatures be preferred, not required, seated president, incoming president, just for consistency, because you want them to be involved, and then the contact people can be whoever is going to be in charge of the grant, just as a recommendation, not a requirement.
Yeah, and it's not a bad one, but I've just seen with a lot of clubs, they really prefer it to be like the completely incoming leadership. So it's always the PE and maybe the treasurer, treasurer elect, or always the PE and the TRF elect.
Okay, so perhaps then we say we recommend, not require, one of the signatures be the PE.
Yeah, and I actually don't have a problem with that. I kind of like that because I have seen in the past where the current president was the one that signed it and the PE didn't really even know about it. So that's definitely a doable one. But there's no way to enforce it is the only problem.
Yeah, I understand. I really, when I'm putting the how-to guide together, I'll just put suggested.
Best practices.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Because it's only going to make it easier for them. Sorry, go ahead.
Regarding the budget, so it's just a budget. And then when we go in to say, have you spent all the money? Well, we want to, have spent all the money. But if we haven't, can we include like mileage and meals or any per diem or anything to get to our location? Or is it strictly just the project funding?
No, you can't include that.
Okay.
It's got to be the project funding, and that's why you should, before you submit your application, you should have a good idea of what your budget is for the particular project to make sure you cover it. I will say most clubs, their projects aren't fully funded from their DDF anyways.
Yeah.
So they usually don't have a problem getting to their budget. And the only part of the budget I need fully spent is the DDF part.
Mm-hmm.
And that's also why sometimes we do recommend you split them up if you have a really complex one. Like, are you doing the Josh the Otter? Is that you?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
So maybe yours is you're going to buy just the swim aids out of the DDF money. Okay. Well, you know how much that is. And that's not gonna be a hard thing to spend on, because and then your club's money from all your other sources, because you don't have to put any of that fundraising. We don't have any matches. So some districts do. We're one of the only districts in the entire world that do it where we let you decide how to spend the money proportionate to the donation. Most districts in the world, you actually are submitting an application. So that's not a guarantee. That's you're applying for the money and asking for it. And so in a lot of districts, they do want to see that match. They want to see fundraising. For us, we don't need to see any of that. So for Josh the Otter, if you can spend all your DDF just buying swim aids, then just put that as the project, and in the description say it's going as the larger part of the Josh the Otter. Because then you have that flexibility If you didn't spend all of the total project money, well, that's okay. That's your club's money. And then if you need to go buy one more life jacket, go buy one more life jacket.
Sure.
You spent
Okay.
the
And
DDF
then
part.
a follow up on that too. I thought I heard you say that you prefer that we don't always do the same prod or the same grant application, which I think we're pretty healthy now with our fundraising we did with some of our sponsors and stuff like that. So, but if we do it again next year and submit for Josh the Otter, it won't probably get turned down, huh?
May I
We
speak
might
to
need
that?
we might need a new Josh costume by then. Yes.
The spirit of the rule is to encourage clubs and Rotarians to do different projects.
Okay.
The letter of the law is that if you are doing Josh the Otter project every year and you're reaching a different group of children every year, that's a different project.
Okay.
Right.
If you were doing the same thing for the same people year after year, that would absolutely not qualify and would defeat both the spirit and the letter of the rule.
Perfect. We
Yeah.
pretty much get new students every year. So
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And we want to keep in mind that just like Ed said, we've got a letter of the rule and we got a spirit of the rule. The spirit of the rule is that we want you to branch out and we want it's almost like we want this money to be pilot money. It's not really like that, but kind of like that, where if it is a project like Josh the Otter, it gets you off the road or ground, I mean. And if you need it for 2 or 3 years to get you really off the ground until you get all your sponsors, as I saw your presentation, you got a great plan.
that wasn't my club though that did the
That was
presentation.
another club adding
Oh, that's
Josh the
another club
Otter.
doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. We've been doing it for about four years now, I think.
I think
Okay,
Temple
so-
Terrace got the idea from you, and Temple Terrace was the one that gave the presentation, as I
Right.
recall.
Okay.
Yeah, we
So
had
if
a
you
table
need
set
it,
up at the last conference last
if you
year.
need it to kind of help get you going and started, but again,
Yeah.
you're serving a different target audience each time, that's fine. But the spirit of it is it shouldn't be the funding that runs your thing year in, year out, every year.
Right.
Because we want you to branch out and do other things in the community
Right.
to keep you engaged with the community type of
Yeah.
thing. That's the spirit of it.
Well, so the Temple Terrace presentation did give, me good ideas because we don't do the swim safety. We go into the schools and do the program, but we are trying to coordinate now with the Lake Wells Recreation Center to get into their camps and stuff like that during the summer to
Right.
do the program there. And maybe we can provide the life jackets to the rec center or something like that in the future. So,
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I like it. And another thing to note is another reason I would personally think that the spirit is there. I wasn't here when that was drafted many moons ago, is your DDF is highly volatile. So you don't know really, 3 years
That's good.
out, but
Right.
you really don't know. So we don't want you to be counting on it to do your signature stuff. We want your signature stuff to be able to run even if you don't have any DDF. We pray the DDF goes up every year, and I have an action plan for the next 3 years to try to encourage that. And I know Ed's been doing a lot of stuff in his last 2 years. Well, his second year's not up, but his last 2 years, he's been doing a lot to try to encourage that. We want DDF to go up, but maybe a major donor left. I will say, for example, I left Sunrise and moved to Tampa. Well, I'm a major donor, so their DDF just took a tank. And that may happen.
Never thought about that.
And so you don't want it to be dependent on your DDF.
Right.
We want it to be, like I said, something new, something novel, and then maybe you do it a year or 3, and then your club's excited and takes off with it.
Right. Perfect. Good. All right. I think that so I know we're talking about this year or this coming year, but for this last year, are we able to upload any receipts into that, or is there nothing about last year's in there? So we
Nothing.
still need to keep those on hand.
Yeah, you'll have to keep those on hand. This
Okay.
has nothing with last year's because I would have literally had to go enter everyone's grant
Right.
last year.
Yep, I figured that. I just
And I
wanted
wasn't
to
going to do
double check.
that.
And Sarah,
Yeah.
if you're just looking for a place to keep them, your club access to DACdb you can go in and have
Club
public
files.
or private files that
Okay.
you could
Yeah.
use that as storage for your receipts if that
Here,
was
let
your
me show you.
preference.
That's actually a really easy one. So if you just go to my club, and I will say that anyone in your club that's a club member can have access to this unless you set it up with security,
Okay.
which is it's a little harder than it sounds like it should be. But if you go there, there should be a files.
It's not in that top part.
I think they moved it.
Yeah.
Did
There
they
it
move it
is,
down to
third one
extras?
in,
Yeah,
top row, third
there you go.
one.
Club
Club
files.
files.
Yeah.
So you go to club files. Now it's under extras. I actually know why they did this. So the stuff under the fold is the things that aren't part of the very basic DACdb package. But I think as a
Extras.
district, we've upgraded, and so all the clubs have club files.
Yes.
Okay.
But it's not technically part of, but the district's paid for some of these modules. So you go to club
Perfect.
files. The most important thing is do not put it under the public tab.
No.
What ends
Right.
up happening is if you go to your club and if your club's website has a files link, which most clubs do, they have some sort of it's somewhere on there. I don't, you can tell I don't go to my club's website as much. I know where it is on the district. Um, I'll go to the district ones. I know where it is on the district. But if you go and you're not signed into DACdb and you go to documents, and the thing is you can put this about anywhere on your website. So if your club has a documents link on their website, then anything in that
Anybody
public
can look at.
folder is there.
Yep.
So you want to make sure you put it in secure. And then the thing is with secure though, is this is visible to everyone in the club, which the spirit of transparency in club
Yep.
management says that shouldn't be a problem. But yeah, you could just come in here and then you get the buttons up here to control it. So you can go like add a folder and you can go like DDF receipts and then organize it by year.
Okay.
So
Very good. Yep.
I
I'm
would
used
put
to
the
public
year on it,
records. I got
too.
no problem. What was that, Irma?
I said I would put the year on the title too.
Oh yeah. Yep. Very good.
okay, Kale, you got any questions?
I do. So I was just wondering, usually every year in my club, we usually end up transferring the DDF to another club. Uh, does that process still work the same as far as this goes, or?
So if you're going to transfer all of your DDF to another club for their project, couple things that run into play. So kind of work through the scenarios. We still have the 50% rule. And so by the 50% rule, what I mean is the up to 50% of your DDF, that is the max that can be spent on a district grant. So if you're going to transfer it, so let's just be nice, and say Highlands is going to transfer it to Lakeland. Okay, you want to help Irma out. And so you're going to transfer and they're going to use it on a district grant. You can only transfer up to 50% of your DDF to Irma because that's for a district grant. If
Right.
instead you wanted, Irma is also doing, the reason I picked Irma and Lakeland is because they're also doing a global grant. So instead, if you wanted to transfer it to Lakeland, but to fund their global grant, you can transfer up to 100%. Because you can spend up to 100% of your DDF on global grants or Polio Plus, but you can only spend up to 50% on a district grant. Does that make sense? That's the
Yes.
first part of the answer.
So, for example, if we were to, just for example, do that, and so my club this year we have 1,559 available for district grants.
Correct.
Could we send that 1,559 to them for a district grant, and then send them another 1,559 for the global side, or does it not work like that?
I can't not chime in here. I'm sorry.
I'm about to chime in as well, Ed, on that.
Yeah,
But
yes, Kale, you can do that. But
why would you want
respectfully,
to?
why on earth would you want to give away $1,500 that your club members have donated to another club's probably local community project? For global grant, typically what happens, and again, it's not a requirement, but typically clubs will struggle to sponsor their own global grant. So we have not even a handful, a limited number of clubs each year that are involved in global grants, and that tends to be the funds that get transferred. But the district grants, even with the new DACdb system, is so easy that I have to believe Highlands County could find a project that you want to do or an organization that you want to support, or the Rotary Club of Sebring that you all share a community.
Well,
That
yeah,
is
so
doing
that's
something.
why I said that, is because that's what we ended up doing last year. Was they were building the restrooms down here. I'm sure you guys have
Yeah.
heard about that. They built
Yes.
public restrooms. In
Yes.
exchange for our DDF funds, they promised us volunteers for our fundraiser.
Oh,
So that's what we ended up doing last year. So I don't know. There might be something similar to that this year. I'm not sure.
yeah.
We
And
haven't gotten that far, but I
Now,
was just
let me
wondering
ask you
about
this, Kale.
transferring.
Because and now my interest is just peaked. You said that you traded it for volunteer hours for your fundraiser. What's your
Yeah.
fundraiser fund?
What is our fundraiser fund?
Yeah, what do you
Yeah.
use the money from your fundraiser for?
Just all the different projects that our club works on throughout the year.
You can use this money on one of those projects as well.
I wasn't in charge last year,
No, I
and I really
understand that.
didn't.
And I will facilitate whatever you want to do with the money as
He's
long as
just
it
giving you
follows the rules.
suggestions.
I'm just
Right.
I'm the same way as Ed. I'm like, I understand the Sebring one. That one was a great thing. And then Sebring's
Right.
also in your neighborhood, so it is actually helping.
Well, and the
So I-
restrooms too, they were a huge benefit because we do our events in the same exact location.
right.
Right.
So,
Um,
uh,
and I
Kale,
will
do you
probably
have like a pet project or a favorite charity in your community that is it,
I
boys
do.
clubs,
Yeah,
girls
I mean,
clubs,
I have stuff
scouting,
personally.
whatever,
Yeah.
or feed the hungry? There's got to be some project that, or organization or charity or nonprofit that you as president, I mean, this is your chance to make a statement on what means something to you in your community so that you make some kind of impact on whatever
Right.
your
Right.
favorite
It
local
so
charity is.
it's not that we're having trouble thinking of things. I was just mainly asking if the transferring uses the same system
Okay. Okay.
as, yeah. So
And,
projects aren't really a problem for
Okay.
us. It's not hard for us to come up with stuff, especially in Islands County.
and,
Right. Yeah.
There's
Ed
plenty of
was
subject
afraid you were
matter
giving
here.
away your money.
and,
No,
and,
no, 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 no.
and Kale,
I
I just did a quick check. For the Rotary year that we're in and the Sebring restroom project, your club didn't transfer money technically. You received a DDF check from our district, from the Rotary Foundation through our district. So your club contributed to the project with DDF, but it was money that was sent to your club. It wasn't a form that you transferred authority to spend your money to Sebring.
okay.
and I would say you
I get
probably
what you're
need to get
saying.
your
Yeah.
name put on that bathroom, maybe the little smaller plaque, but yeah, let's walk through the logistics just so you have them. If you do want to transfer the money, you will not use the grants module. The grants module doesn't have that capability because again, this
Okay.
grants module is made for running district grants in the traditional Rotary model, which the traditional Rotary model is the district itself has all the money. So there would never be the scenario where a club has money to transfer to somebody else because
Right.
that's not the
Well,
traditional model.
Jason, I don't want to force you to run through that when it's something that probably won't even happen for us.
Oh, well, I was just
Good,
going to
good,
say
because
it's
I'd be
really
calling you
simple.
offline.
Yeah. If that's really what you would like to do, it's the same form.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's the same form you use to ask for your global grant money or to transfer to Polio Plus. There's a third box on there that says transfer to a district grant.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just trying to understand this because there's been some I don't know misunderstanding in my own